together. Let them get a rest on the bench.
Bombers begin at their 35. Rublin gets it off to the new man, Demetrius Stanley. And Stanley's been a busy guy for a guy playing in his first game. He's out across the 40 to about the 42.
Okay, but here's what we're talking about on success on first down. Demetrius Stanley, catches that little under route. Doesn't have to be a running play. It could be a short pass just like that. He catches that one. Now that puts him in a second and real short situation.
TJ Rubley has completed 5 passes in the game, all of them to Demetrius Stanley. Four receivers to the near side of the field. Rubley looking to the backside, over the top for 10 long. And the closest man there was BC safety Dale Joseph. And now Johnny Scott and TJ Rubley having words. And this Winnipeg-BC rivalry looks very much like it did in the days of Roy DeWalt and Tom Clements.
Well, they were doing a lot of talking on that play between Johnny Scott and TJ Rubley. Guys are fired up. This is a hard-hitting football game. That first quarter was a lot of hard hitting. And watch Johnny Scott at the end of this play, right in the face of Rubley. Now, had the official seen that, that could have been a taunting call.
Were you ever called for taunting?
No. I just chat. I would just chat. I didn't taunt.
Cameron, great kick with the win. Chases Harris back to the 20. Rod Harris gets up to the 28. Matt DeBuck got a piece of him to limit the return to just 5 yards. Here's Greg Musselman.
Okay, Gord, Jeff Reinbold said not necessarily were they dedicating the game to Joe Paopao, at least to the players, but they very much have done that. They've got some material. In fact, it looks like one of Joe Paopao's shirts that he wore around the office, and the players most of them have taken a piece of this material. They have it taped around their armbands, and some of the players also have Paopao written on their armbands as well. So very much they're getting inspiration from Joe Paopao, the former offensive coordinator, of course, no longer with the football team. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Greg. And you can see the pieces of the shirt hanging there. I guess it's a tribute. If it's bad enough you have to leave, but then they take one of your shirts and cut it up. Maybe you wanted it back.
Well, I think to a man, they don't think this team is any better without Joe Paopao in Winnipeg.
Lions now get penalized for an illegal block on the return and are chased back to their own 10-yard line, working into the wind, down by 4. Gets it up there for Rod Harris, close to a first down. Harris leaps across the 20 to about the 22-yard line, and a very late flag comes down at the end of that play. A gain of 13 yards.
Well, there's a lot of talking. There's pushing after the fact. I mean,
major foul, unnecessary roughness. BC 68. Dead ball foul. First and 10, BC.
So it comes after the first down. Corey Mantika is called. It's a 17-yard gain, but as a result, BC gets only 2 out of it.
Corey Mantika got way to the outside and just letting the frustration get to him.
Scott Hendrickson of BC was saying last week he had 45 yards along the ground. He baited Montreal players into 3 15-yard objectionable conduct penalties.
Can't do it. Can't do it and win.
Now they're discussing where the football should be. It was a first down for Harris, but the penalty came after he gained the yards. And it is a first down for BC. So once they get that sorted out, Damon Allen can finally get to work. Damon Allen, the only player to throw a pass for the BC Lions this year, despite some inconsistency. Adam Rita says he's our guy, and no wonder. Damon Allen coming off the best year of his career last season. On first down, here comes the blitz. Allen over the top. Eddie Brown was the intended target, but he was tripped at the 25-yard line. Brown appealing for pass interference. Won't get it.
Well, it was the right decision by Damon Allen because he saw the all-out blitz. by the Winnipeg defense. It's well known their attack, and they're bringing everybody. David Maeve at 31. Maurice Kelly from the safety position is up there. Grant Carter. They're all in the backfield. Damon Allen Regis tries to throw it down the middle, but Eddie Brown would get knocked down by Don Robinson.
Now second down for BC, facing the prospect of having to punt from their own end zone into the wind. Four-man rush this time, but Allen's under pressure. Over the top he goes. Jim Sandusky makes the catch, and we'll have a big first down for BC to the 36-yard line.
And that was close to a late hit as well by Patrick Burke on the sideline.
A gain of 25 yards for Jim Sandusky, the 36-year-old assistant coach / receiver, pressed into service when BC had horrendous injury problems after week number 2 of the season.
Well, last time these two teams played, Jim Sandusky was the leading receiver for the Lions. 3 catches for 63 yards in that game.
And a sideline observer was injured as Sandusky went out of bounds, and he is now receiving medical attention near the Winnipeg bench. And that's the cause for the delay.
Well, Patrick Burke hit Jim Sandusky right out on the sideline. And I thought it was questionable as to whether or not this was late. Sandusky's on his way out and gets a pretty hard hit from Patrick Burke, and there's the injury to the innocent bystander.
12:29 to play here in the second quarter. Back with more of Adidas Friday Night Football after this. Del Perkins, the timekeeper, who was hit on the sidelines, and he might have been hearing alarm clocks for a while, but time in now as he's all right. First down BC up to the 36-yard line. Oh, look out. Lions were way ahead of things. Now Allen takes a hit from Grant Carter for his trouble. Allen thought the whistle would go as 2 of his receivers were about 5 yards up the field before the snap.
Yeah, Eddie Brown is right now, he's about 40 yards down the field. That's because he got a 10-yard head start.
Offside, BC 81, decline, second down.
Rod Harris takes the offside call, but Allen loses 4 yards on the play, and as a result, it'll be 2nd and 14.
It's not a whole lot of plays in the playbook for 2nd and 14.
This is the thin part of the playbook.
Yeah, you got about 2 or 3. Because of some bad penalties, Adam Reed has seen way too many of them.
Here comes the blitz. Allen over the middle for Brown, but Don Robinson is all over him. No gain for Brown, and BC will have to punt.
Don Robinson is having a career game right now. Here's Don Robinson right here. Here's Eddie Brown just going to run across underneath pattern, and Don Robinson is right there. Breaks up, arms around, drives him to the turf.
386.
Blunt back to take this kick from Pasaglia. Just gets it away. Blunt from the 38. Gets the block to get around the corner. Now flags all over the place as Blunt breaks free. Across midfield and tripped up at the 45-yard line. A 27-yard return of a 37-yard punt, but there are 2 flags on the play, and Blunt knows this is coming back.
Illegal block. Winnipeg, number 3. First down, Winnipeg.
Brandon Hamilton called for the illegal block. And the frustration evident for Eric Blunt. So instead of starting at the BC 45-yard line, the Bombers are back to their own 25.
Been a tough start for TJ Rubley in this Winnipeg offense. Punt, punt, punt.
And the touchdown, remember, came as a result of an interception that put them down at the BC 10.
Right.
The difference on the penalty is 40 yards. Rubley, wide open Larry Thompson, and he's up to midfield. Dale Joseph picks up the ball, but Thompson was down. A gain of 31 yards.
Larry Thompson finds the hole in the seam. Pretty good throw by Rubley to thread the needle right in between Dale Joseph and Jocelyn Borgella. Larry Thompson needs to come up with some big plays for this football team. The last time these two teams played, he only had one catch in the game. He's got to be their go-to guy.
Early movement, and the give goes to Sean Millington, but proceedings are called as the Bombers appear to be able to draw the BC Lions offside.
BC 45 is offside. First down repeat.
David Benefield called offside, and Winnipeg creeps closer to BC territory at the 49.
3 sacks on the year so far for David Benefield, but what the sack stat doesn't talk about is pressures, and David Benefield is coming hard, play in and play out from the outside. Doesn't always get credit for the sack. He's providing pressure constantly.
Here's Millington on 1st and 5, chased around the corner, and he is wrapped up by Jocelyn Borgella, the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, who's second in the league in tackles to Edmonton's Willie Pless.
You know, when you got a guy like Sean Millington, it's much like Mike Pringle. They're great runners if they're heading north and south. If you can make Sean Millington turn his shoulders to the sideline like David Benefield does on that play, he doesn't have much of a chance. They're great because they're power runners. They come right at you. If you get them turned, you can stop them.
Millington now makes his way off the field as the extra receiver Spencer McLennan comes in on 2nd down and 7. Rubley has time and almost has it picked off as Borgella was there again. He was looking there for Demetrius Stanley.
Well, it was set up to be the screen to Eric Blunt, but TJ Rubley had to throw it up and over. He has to kind of jump because Troy Bailey's right in his face, and that one goes over the head of Blunt.
Winnipeg, though, showing some signs offensively. However, Bob Cameron will have to come on and punt rather than having Troy Westwood try a 58-yard field goal. Harris is the lone man back. Cameron aiming for the sidelines. It'll bounce over the head of Harris and into the end zone. He will happily concede one. Oh, look out, he lost the football. Touchdown, Winnipeg. John Kalin jumps on the ball, and it's a touchdown for the Bombers. BC arguing that Kalin was within 5 yards.
And that's what Danny Barrett turned around and said to Adam Rita when he touches the football. Is there anyone from Winnipeg within the 5-yard restraining zone? Because if it is, it's automatic 5-yard penalty. Take a look at it. You be the judge. I mean, here it is. Now, Ron Harris is doing this on purpose. He's trying to draw Winnipeg in there. You see Brad Elberg in there.
Looked to me like Kalin might have been that close as he was able to lunge to the football.
Well, here's another angle at it. Ron Harris is going to wait and try and draw them in.
Kalin just joined the Bombers at the end of July, and he has made a major contribution now for Winnipeg. A recovery for a touchdown. Winnipeg up 17-6 on Adidas. Friday Night Football. Well, John Kalin has a touchdown for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and it is not going down well with the BC Lions. First touchdown of Kalin's CFL career as Troy Westwood kicks it off. Westwood sends it deep. Harris chased back to his 5. And Harris gets out to the 25 before he's belted. Rod Harris still shaking his head about what happened in the end zone on that punt. So was his head coach Adam Rita during the break, trying to beckon Coach Buds or referee Bud Steen over. The coach unable to get his attention, and here's why he's upset.
Well, there's been a couple questionable calls, but this is just a situation that the officials dropped the ball. I mean, John Kalin is well within the 5-yard range. That is a no yards penalty. The fumble should not count. It's a bad call by the officials, plain and simple.
What a huge break for the Bombers, though. Winnipeg's offense has done very little in the football game, but an interception sets up one touchdown, and now the special teams score another. Allen gives it off to Millington, who pulls his way out to about the 30-yard line for a pickup of 5.
Well, Danny Barrett immediately turned around to Adam Rita after that touchdown, and they started talking about it, and we're halfway out on the field. There's been 8 penalties in this game so far, and I would think I would question 4 of them at least. That one was huge.
Adam Rita still shaking his head down there about that one. You can bet that that portion of the game tape will be worn out by the time Adam Rita finishes looking at it.
No question.
Allen going over the top. Trevor Shaw is down there hand fighting. He's there with Don Robinson, who seems to be in the middle of everything tonight. No flag comes down as Shaw, who comes in as the 5th receiver, sees the pass go incomplete.
Yeah, Don Robinson's having himself a great football game. Trevor Shaw back in the lineup. Had a shoulder injury. He's back in, was going deep that time. On Don Robinson, he was step for step. Good coverage.
And Lupasanglia will once again have to punt. An 11-point Winnipeg lead. 7:46 to play in the first half as the Bombers look for their first win of the year. Blunt has it bounced down to the 35-yard line, and that's exactly where he is stopped. Troy Bailey makes sure there's no return of the 45-yard punt. And let's take another look at what exactly got BC into this hole.
Well, I mean, here is the punt. Rod Harris is waiting to draw Kalen and Brad Elberg in. Yes, they're trying to back up, but it doesn't matter. If they're trying to back up, it's an automatic 5-yard penalty, but it is still a penalty if you're in the 5-yard zone. That means that the BC Lions should have kept the football. No touchdown for Winnipeg, and Adam Rita just can't believe it. Of course, Jeff Reinbold will take it any way he can in his situation, but I mean, I just question the officiating so far tonight. It's just been, in my books, horrendous.
Well, see if they invite you to their preseason golf tournament next year.
You know what? Last night, it was a great game from the officiating standpoint in Calgary. I thought they did a super nice job. In fact, talked to him after the game about it. Thought they did a really nice job. We really didn't talk about it much, but there's been some questionable calls. You go back to the Patrick Burke interference on Jim Sandusky in the first play of the game. Questionable there. I mean, if they were going to call that one, they could have called Don Robinson on this play.
Damon Allen looking on. Family reunion for him in BC this week. His folks are up, and so is his brother Marcus, who will broadcast the American Bowl for CBS, beginning his new career as a commentator there. And that game is tomorrow at BC Place. For ticket information, there's the number to call.
Well, the good news for David Braley, the owner of the Lions, is that he, of course, fronted the money for that game, and it's over the break-even point. They're looking for a big walk-up and make some money for the Lions.
Game's at 5 p.m. local time, so Damon and the Lions will hustle back to BC Place, and then he'll sit and watch Steve Young and the 49ers battle Warren Moon and the Seahawks. Talking to Damon yesterday about the key factors for his team, and one of them he mentioned was Robert Drummond, saying he's still trying to learn how to use Robert Drummond properly. And Drummond is the injured BC Lion making his way off the field now. Damon Allen, it's always been felt, is most successful when he has a great running back beside him.
Well, I think 2 running backs. I think he's best when he has 2 behind him, a fullback, a good tailback. That's what they've gone with the last 3 games with Juan Johnson and Drummond.
Eric Blunt on the carry, gets out across the 40 to the 42-yard line, a pickup of 7 for the Winnipeg tailback, who doesn't get much of a rest. He returns punts, he returns kickoffs, and he's Winnipeg's leading rusher.
That's the way they love it, though. Guys that are carrying the football, they love to have it as much as they can get it.
I'll tell you what, though, he's 5'9" now. He'll be 5'6" by the end of the year.
This has been a hard-hitting game.
Under 7 minutes to go here in the first half, and Winnipeg once again on the move. Rubley once again for Demetrius Stanley, and they'll mark him down at the 45, very close to a first down on his 6th catch of the game.
Mike Mihalik does a nice job on a pretty good pass rusher in Dave Chaters to give T.J. Ruby just enough time. That's good pass technique. Got the hands inside on the shoulder pads. If you get him out there, it's holding. Mike Mihalik does a nice job of blocking for him on that play.
Well, the man who has people scrambling for their programs in Winnipeg is Demetrius Stanley, receiver from Ohio State in his first year. Best known football accomplishment for him was scoring a 72-yard touchdown in Ohio State's Rose Bowl win in 1996. Blunt back through the middle again and to the 52-yard line for a pickup of 7 yards. And you can see the Winnipeg offensive lineman now walking with some